Hi, everybody. My name is Rachel Lance, and I am here to present Sustainable Families. 34% of the homeless population in the United States is comprised of families, 84% of which are led by women. This demographic is not surprising to me, as 3 years ago I was a victim of domestic violence and found myself leaving Oregon with a child by my side and another one in my belly. I, by the grace of my family, was taken care of. But there are so many families that are put into this system every single year, and they did not get the support that I got in my family. They go through self-sufficiency programs and try to bolster a sense of community, but ultimately they end up being cycled back into a system that put them there in the first place. Sustainable Families is a nonprofit organization that seeks to break this cycle by offering a stepping stone from emergency shelters to long-term housing. Families who enter this program will receive temporary housing, mental health services, child support or child services, life skill training, job and higher education training, and ultimately they will receive sustainability education, including practical skill sets as they build their own long-term housing in the form of a mobile tiny home. It is going to be a community-based approach in order to break the stigma of homelessness and also to bolster that sense of community within the families, but also the community at large. We're going to offer this by providing a community space for people to congregate, including gardens, a tool-lending library and child care services, as well as partnering with organizations that are already established within the community. An estimate for a startup is $20,000. This is a ballpark estimate based off of nonprofits that already exist that started as small startups and are now multi-million nationwide nonprofits, specifically implemented for homelessness. Opportunities to fund this would come from grants, private donations, corporate donations. The business itself, as it grows and chapters begin to blossom across the state, will be required to generate a portion of their own funds specifically for their site. They'll also be generating income from the families themselves who come through the program. As part of the life skill training, they will be required to allocate a portion of that money to build their own mobile tiny home. And finally, last but not least, money will be generated from a curriculum that I am currently creating called The Life of the Sun. This is a series of interchangeable sustainability modules that can be arranged any which way to allocate the needs of a given target audience. It can be dovetailed into a DHS program. It can be used for disaster relief, mental health services, used in schools, you name it. First and foremost, the greatest need for this program would be to get temporary housing. I don't know if you guys know this, but the closest shelter to Fairfield is in Ottumwa. The next closest is in Des Moines. Marshalltown within this past year had their shelter closed, so families in that area have to go all the way to Ames in order to receive aid. The need is great. There's over 1 million people every single year that seek the aid of shelters. They are disappearing and the need is there. Beyond needing the temporary housing, we would have to allocate a space for community to congregate and for childcare to be established. We already have our foot in the door by a partnership I have with Leanne Hayes, who has offered this shop on her property to build the mobile tiny homes. People that we need for this program are board members, partnerships, investors, employees, volunteers, and most importantly, the clients. The benchmarks for the road ahead: within this year, we'd like to have temporary housing and childcare underway. Within 5 years, I would like to see Sustainable Families as a statewide program, and in 7 years nationwide. This is the awesome team of people that I had the opportunity to collaborate with this weekend. We are Sustainable Families. Please check out our website.
Nice job. I think you did a very good job of presenting. Tremendous. I don't know you, but I feel very proud of you for pursuing this and standing up and making this presentation because it's such a big need in our community. But with that said, I think it's important to be able to explain the monetization of the program. And that's one thing that you really weren't able to get on. And so I think if you were to focus on what are the financial needs and how it would be monetized, then I think you could make some progress. And I think you will be able to do that. So that's what I think.
Yeah, really powerful, really well done. And then a baby on stage, what to do, yeah, like my heartstrings, like, no, really plucked here. The monetization piece and the business model, and I'm sure that as a group you talked about it a bit, how you would make this into a sustainable venture, and what would be that kind of long-term, I mean, almost revenue coming in. Maybe you could just pass the mic a bit and tell us you know, some of those numbers and ideas that you were throwing out as you put this together.
So we mentioned a few of the possible funding streams. There are grant opportunities for these sort of operations, but something that actually would be sustainable over time is the curriculum that this program would develop. It would be on the order of hundreds of dollars. We hadn't found a complete price point yet. It would depend on what other modules and what other things are being developed.
Who would be the payer?
It would be social services, governmental agencies, mental health institutions, that sort of thing.
Yeah, and I think a lot of us are not aware of the kind of needs that we have. In Fairfield, no less the state of Iowa, and rural Jefferson County, because it's not so visible. But over the years, I've been learning more and more about those kinds of things. So it's great to do something like that here locally. And I think there probably is enough support in town. Fairfield has a record number of nonprofits for a town of our size. And I think that there's a lot of support locally for what we're doing.
Customer discovery.
I spent most of yesterday and today kind of feeling out the support in Fairfield and also regionally. I'm in Des Moines today. Was at a convention and met someone who has a sustainability PhD from Beijing. And was like, I really want to help with this, even though I live in Ankeny. I really want to be part of this. And I have this list of people that have just, and this is what we need. And through this, I bring my son everywhere I go, you know, and he's, I didn't think about it, brought him up on stage. Because this is really what, we don't have much space for the children and the youth, and I brought the youth from the farmer's market, and they came into the collab, and they just joined the team. Some of them are here, and there's just this overwhelming response to the community needing to come together and provide so many avenues for building the community, and it really starts in the home.
I'm just glad to be on this team.
Time for
That's time. Thank you
let's
guys.
get on the stage. Thank you.